It's a big scam for sure.
What you learned, are you even applying it right now?
Why do they not tell you what your options are?
Because ये तेरी साइंस पढ़ने की औकात नहीं है. The only reason I went to tuition was because लड़कीबाजी.
This thing called webinars.
Switch on the mic, video off, go to sleep.
Webinars make no sense.
See, in the US, you don't necessarily have to know what you want to do going into college.
Wow.
If I, let's say, major in operations, I can't get a job in marketing.
चलो आज मैं ये करता हूँ, कल मैं वो करता हूँ, आज मैं ये कर लेता हूँ.
Okay. So here, that's not how it works.
देखो जॉब मिली ना, नहीं ना, क्या फायदा हुआ? फालतू बकवास.
So there was this time where I was attending a tuition class. Okay, it was a math tuition class, and the teacher wanted to know as to what we selected as going forward in class 11 and 12, which is finished class 10, and he was asking us what we had selected when we're going to 11, 12. Now the options that are given to a student who passes 11, 12, passes class 10 in India is he's given the option of either you take science, or you take commerce, or you take humanities, right? So humanities basically is arts. So the question that was asked to me, or the entire group of students in general, was that what have you taken, either science or commerce? I was like, bro, mera option to hai hi nahi, iske he's not even in his spectrum of thoughts. So I was like, hai nahi. So I was like, bro, sir, arts liya. Like, wait, he just paused for a second, he looked at me like, arts, maths, that's why I'm here, sir. Because that time the backup option to convince your parents was that if you take arts, you at least have to save your ass by taking economics and maths, because you can't be
future मिलेगा बच्चा को.
Which tuition was this?
This was my math teacher in 11 and 12.
Oh, 11, okay.
Yeah, so that was like the fact that humanities or arts is not even considered a mainstream option, or not even an option for that matter. And people immediately assume that he's taken arts because he is weak in studies, or science iska bana nahi, isliye wo.
I'll tell you. Joyjeev, you took humanities because ये तेरी साइंस पढ़ने की औकात नहीं है. I'm telling you what society thinks. I'm not saying this is what I think. Okay, this is what from your pamma uncle to your ex auntie to your भाई काका said this. साइंस पढ़ने की औकात नहीं है. कॉमर्स में ये करेगा, ये अकाउंटिंग करेगा. ह्यूमैनिटीज है, जॉर्जी से और कुछ तो होगा नहीं, इसको ह्यूमैनिटीज ही लेने तो रट्टा वट्टा मार सकता है, हिस्ट्री सोशल साइंस पास कर लेगा. That is exactly what they think.
It's the whole notion of what can you do with that stream after high school gets over. That the whole notion is that, okay, humanities restricts your options considerably. It's like, okay, if I want to go from science to commerce, I can, but if I want to go from commerce to science, I cannot.
It's a big scam for sure. This entire notion.
Yes, I will agree, and I think Ishmeet also agreed to this point, that when we were in class 9 and 10, this was kind of our thought process, and this is what we were taught, or this is what we learned as children going forward.
It's flawed, right? Because they are now, and because of this, people don't know the amount of options that are open thanks to taking arts, and the things that you can do when you take arts.
But one second, you tell me this, in the Indian education system or any education system, do they tell you what your options are? Why do they not tell you what your options are, what you can do with so many streams? I don't know what I can do besides accounting with business or like management.
Yeah.
You either do your CA or you go management route. What the hell is management? Or like, okay, marketing, fine. But like beyond that, nothing.
It's too broad, boss. Right now, people are like in my college when I was in Xavier, my college are like, marketing and advertising were my core subjects. I can tell you till right now, the things which we were taught essentially, my teachers are going to hate me for this, but they were all hawa mein. They were all hawa mein. I still, so right now, current
What do you mean? What does hawa mean?
So basically, right now, the core essence, one of the key aspects of marketing is how digital marketing and social media marketing, right? That's one. So apart from the TVs and the billboards, that's something which Rahul and since Rahul, we've done in school also. If you remember, class 11 and 12, we had a lot of these things, more of these offline, outdoor media stuff. This online media stuff about social media marketing and digital marketing, so to speak, it's so technical. It's actually very technical. It's like people are like digital marketing karo. There are 10 things that you can do under it, and you
Right.
have a surface knowledge of everything and have a deep knowledge of the other things. हमारे कॉलेज में पूरा स्पेशलाइजेशन में कुछ इसका मेंशन नहीं था. ऊपर ऊपर से होगा, but there was nothing about skills, ads, SEOs, like things which are super necessary. And I think that is another problem.
I don't think the Indian education system or most education systems take into account how important technology has become or is becoming. Like they're not with the times in that kind of sense. And for
Absolutely.
me also, like going into college, right? I had to take a couple of courses on Excel. So today I cannot work without Excel. I can't do anything without Excel.
100%.
Literally. But like that's something I learned here. I don't like there was no emphasis put in school. I understand that you take computers and computers are only taught coding. But what about something that every single person can use? Doesn't matter if you're in humanities, in commerce or science, you will use Excel, Word, PowerPoint in some kind of way. They taught us last in class 5. After class 5, I don't remember learning anything about PowerPoint or what you can do with PowerPoint
Yeah.
or even making a PowerPoint.
I think you also mentioned something like recently you just joined, Rahul, you just joined your job, right? And like I was just discussing how what your job includes and what you do and stuff like that. So there was this part where I asked you ki, matlab, what you learned, are you even applying it right now? But your answer was clearly no. Ki, I'm not applying what I'm studying because I'm learning on the job, which is what.
Dude, I didn't even know such a field existed. Let me tell you. I didn't know that my company had that kind of industry that it used to, work in. And I was just thrown into it into the fire. I'm like, okay, what the hell is this? We were not taught okay, at least in school, we're not taught anything about banks as much. I mean, okay, yeah, you know what a bank is, you know what a credit card is, debit card is. But beyond that, though, what do you know? And that is knowledge that I received in class 11 and 12. And I can't even imagine what you went through as a humanities student learning all this after college.
Yeah. Okay. Now, just to give like a brief intro about what we are doing, Joyjeev, I'm a law student. Rahul's into credit, business, finance,
Credit review. Okay, thank
credit
you.
review, finances. Let's keep it like that. Ishmeet's into marketing. So that's our background. And another thing which really fascinated me throughout this lockdown is that the entire this fact that education is going online and we're having a lot of virtual classes, and as an extension of this virtual classes, what at least these legal students are being exposed to is this thing called webinars. Now webinars I think are the biggest scam on this earth where like where one firm or one organization who thinks that they want to advertise and wants to create some value calls this one professional and gives a 1 hour lecture on any random topic, like randomist. Like they think that कि privacy law पे थोड़ा झाड़ मारना चाहिए, तो मतलब that one person gives 1 hour lecture on privacy law just out of the blue.
So not necessarily applicable to most people kind of stuff also.
Yeah,
More
Like
than that,
since
is it a part of the structure and the curriculum then, or is it कि चलो आज मैं ये करता हूँ, कल मैं वो करता हूँ, आज मैं ये कर लेता हूँ?
the latter. It's that आज मैं ये करता हूँ, कल मैं वो करता हूँ, शायद मतलब दे
कोई
ऑडियंस देर
कोई
साथ
सर पैर नहीं है.
सर पैर नहीं है और एक दिन में मतलब see first it was exciting, okay, since I'm doing nothing at home, to attend any webinar and to get some sort of knowledge from a professional sounded something of value. But gradually this became 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 webinars a day, and they matlab get your contact information and then they send you regular updates and they send you emails
Got it.
and then WhatsApp messages.
Got it.
After a while you're bombarded with so much of shit, you go like, bro,
marketing to another level.
yeah, I can't take it anymore.
धंधा सही चल रहा होगा उसका, धंधा सही कर रहा है, but he shouldn't be bothering for sure.
But okay, I remember when we were talking about this, you said that it's more for like attendance basis than anything else that people are doing it. Like I think you can leave it out, like what do you call it? You can attend it, not really interact. You can leave yourself on mute, I guess, and just
Switch
leave
on the
and still
mic
still
and
get
go
attendance
to
or whatever. Right.
video off, go to sleep.
Right. And I'm assuming it's something like that. Just doing things for the sake of attendance is something you faced as well, Ishmeet.
Oh, boss. On the basis of attendance.
Yeah, so I think also attendance is one, and also for certificates. So if you attend this webinar, the what do you call the incentive that you get is a certificate saying that, so you can add that in your LinkedIn CV or whatever and say that you've attended a webinar to show that, let's say, now I know something on privacy law, I know something on competition law. So you just attended 1 hour का lecture by this random person जिसका कोई structure नहीं है.
So you nothing. There's no value added to you.
There is, if I'm like really focused and I really do some research and reading after that, and I really look for substantive points. But in a day, 5 webinars make no sense.
You think you can study in the Indian education system without tuitions from like class 1 to class 12? No tuitions whatsoever. You study on your own.
No,
Looking back personally, the only reason I went to tuition was because ladki bazi.
but ये सब तेरी तरह नहीं है भाई. But like genuinely, honestly, you can't. I don't.
Please remove that. Please don't even put it in our podcast.
Yo, you can put this in the intro of the episode. अबे तो is it sexist?
Yeah.
Ladki bazi na.
What are you saying?
How is it sexist? Like, I'm going because I wanted female interaction. That's it.
It's like,
ठीक है, I'll put it in that way.
yeah.
Tuitions वाला question हम बोल रहे हैं. Yes, the only reason personally I went to tuition was because I wanted to meet more people and have interaction and make more friends. That's it. Looking back, I don't think we needed tuitions
At all.
as such.
At all.
Personally, maybe for math because it used to be huge syllabus and school में कितना ही cover होता था. But other subjects like English, economics, personally, I don't really think it was that necessary.
English, economics, I understand. What about class 9 and 10 science?
ये simple था, bro. I was very good at physics and bio. Chemistry, let it be.
Getting a little lost with the topic.
छोड़ो ये डालो ही मत, ये question डालो ही मत.
Yeah, so when we are discussing the topic of education as a scam, I'll tell you how I came across this topic and why I want to talk about it. I was recently interacting with this neighbor of mine, okay? And she's about to graduate and she's some 2 years junior to me, okay? So she's about to graduate and she's deciding her next step of action, like her next step, what she's going to do after she graduates. And her immediate concerns are that she doesn't want to study in India. She doesn't want to work in India. She wants to have like, work with a company, like a TLC sort of a company or a food and beverage company, F&B kind of a media company, and travel the world and, eat cuisine, stuff like that. Now she has no idea what is required to achieve that aim. And only the fact that a foreign life is luxurious. So, and plus also the fact that she's rich. Now, she can afford to spend some 25 lakhs to 30 lakhs of her father.
She can afford to dream that, boss.
She can afford 25 to 30 lakhs of her father's money and just get a degree abroad. So, for me, that is a scam to the highest level, bro. You don't even want. And there's a foreign institute over there who's showing off in its brochure ki, we are in the world's #1 media communications university. If you want to work here, come to us. And plus, I'm sure they have better dialogues in their brochure than this. But the fact that you don't know what you want and what is required from a particular job or to get a particular job means you're so lost and you just do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, you go out, okay, like before because Rahul will be the best person to talk about this since I'm not saying you were in that category, but because you've been outside for studying, all right? Another example, Rahul, which I'm sure you'd agree, people I'm sure even you know who were there in your university, just went and because chalo bahar jaake padhna hai, came back, just had fun, just spent money, and that's it. And they come back and they're looking for a job, they're struggling to get a job here. I know people, my sister's friend, she studied for a year outside for a couple of years and now she's struggling she ended up spending what 10-20 lakh for sure. Now she's coming
10-20
back
lakh is way less than you think.
कम बोल दिया possible, मैं कम बोल दिया, मेरा उतने तक ही पहुंच है. But now when she comes back home and she's like now she's struggling to find a job.
No, like,
and she went outside with the promise, you come here, अरे तुमको ऐसा धंधा में घुसाएंगे ना, क्या धंधा में घुसाएंगे. She fell prey to the thing.
Like, from my perspective, there are two things. One is, no matter where you are, you have to work hard. That is a given. You can't just go anywhere and say, you don't do anything in your university and you'll get a job. Fuck no. Where the hell? If you have such a university, please tell me. I will go right now. I'll go chill for 4 years and then I'll get a job and I'll be living my life. But no, that's obviously not how it works. So obviously when I went personally also, I knew that is what one thing I had to do. The one reason, like after 4 years, the one thing I realized why people do end up going abroad versus staying in India is this entire notion of life being fast. Like I want everything, meko sab jaldi chahiye. Okay, I today, if I study in India, get a job in India, can I afford to live on my own, spend everything on my own, and save money with what I earned like for the first 5 years?
In India, you
Very,
can.
very unlikely
In India,
in India.
as in if you graduate and then if you stay and start earning a living.
You graduate, you start earning a living, right?
Yeah.
You have to pay for your own house, you pay for your own food, pay every single thing that there is. Can you afford that while saving a lot of money
Oh yeah.
at the same time? And paying taxes, vagera. I mean, you're probably not even getting into the tax bracket at that point.
Cool. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I mean, Ishmeet, just to take your example, I think Ishmeet, you can speak to this. Like, I know you started working at a startup a few months back, and I mean, you had that experience. You're earning whatever
Because
you are, but you have like,
yeah, so
can you support yourself completely?
no, I wouldn't. So the first 8 to 10 months before we got funded was a struggle. Like I used to get peanuts, and the only reason I was there is because I personally felt I was getting invaluable experience in terms of, because if I was there in terms of a marketing designation, I was doing 400 other things.
Right.
But after that, I think come January we got funded. I got a raise, and it became easier to sustain myself. And I didn't have to borrow money at all from home. In fact, I stopped borrowing money. I started working in February of last year. I stopped borrowing money at all by the time the mid of the month came. Then we shifted to Bombay. Then also my dad's like, take some, kuch le le, teko wapas kar dena mere ko. I'm like, no. So that helped. Maybe not a very luxurious lifestyle. I had to be a
Right.
spendthrift.
No,
I had to do
exactly what I'm
room
saying. So
sharing
you
and stuff,
can't
but
you can't
it was
openly
fine.
spend, right? You can't
It
openly
was possible.
it's possible. It's possible. I agree it's possible. Now over here living the same life,
Yes,
getting a decent job. My whatever I'm
it
getting.
depends on the goals, Rahul. It depends
I
on the
agree.
financial goals. Like
I
I'm not
agree.
somebody ki kao paisa udao.
Okay,
I have
no,
to save.
no. Listen to me. I completely agree with that. But listen to me here. So what I'm getting paid right now, say, is very average for the city. I mean, it is very average compared to people in the city who have a job at a corporate office. I am not joking when I tell you this. I'm getting paid less than
Wow.
most people
Hmm.
for this city. Like this
जितना
is
तू कमा रहा है
very
उतना
average,
जिंदगी निकाल
very
सकता हूँ
average
कमा.
for public accounting. Okay, and for any other like if you go to corporate, you're definitely getting more. But anyway, the point being is that after spending, after taxes, after everything, I'm able to save like a shit ton of money still, and still be able to afford whatever the hell I want. It's more luxurious that way. You can easily get that luxury. It is very easily attainable. And if you've been born with that kind of luxury, you will look to go and find that kind of luxury.
But is that luxury not like a myth? Does it really
It is
exist?
not. It's not a myth.
So if I let's say, go abroad and want to get foreign education, then there's a high chance that I will get paid well.
Very well.
So you're saying that that's why it's not a scam. Going abroad and having such dreams is a good dream.
I'm saying if you dream and if you're ready to work hard for your dream, then yes, please go for it. If you're stupid enough to go and be like, okay, मेरे को ये करना है, enjoy the luxury while partying, go to hell, man. Who the hell do you think you are?
No, I'm saying that when there are institutes in India also, there are institutes abroad as well, right? So the immediate notion one that the institute abroad is better than the one in India is false, is wrong. It depends on what you want to do and which sector you want to enter into, and whether the particular institute of that corresponding sector is there in India or is there abroad, right? So
I completely agree with that.
so I agree that if you go abroad, that there are multiple opportunities, yeah, but you need to know what you exactly want before you know what you want and what is
Thing
required.
is, see the difference. The difference is now with this entire system of liberal arts. Okay, I'm pretty sure you've heard of it. It's very general education that you're getting in. The thing is, you have the flexibility here to study whatever you want. I took a psychology class. I took this class. I took a billiards class. I can take so many different kinds of classes,
Hmm.
and it doesn't really affect. Like, okay, you're supposed to take 5 to 6 classes a semester. I can do 4 classes, say, towards something, and the other 2 can be like just exploration, like say in my first semester of college. Whereas you don't have that flexibility here. You don't necessarily, in the US, you don't necessarily have to know what you want to do going into college at all. I can decide what I want to do in my 3rd year of college and then be comfortable with it. So that kind of flexibility is there. So you don't have to know. Like, but the only thing is like, okay, if you have a general idea, yes, better. For sure.
But you just see the options, there are a plethora of options. Like even like here in Xavier's, we had a thing that there were three things which you could take in your specialization: marketing and advertising, finance, and e-trading, e-commerce, which nobody took. So they had to cancel the class. But you think ki there are more plethora of options which makes it easier for you to think and decide, but yahan possibly wo nahi hai.
Exactly.
Right.
That is definitely not there. And here's the thing, right? Like say just for the business school, you have majors, you have minors. We have over like 10 majors, 10 different things you could major in. You could do like 2-3 majors together. Like I did accounting, finance, and operations. So like that also you can do.
So if
You want to do music in business, you can do music in business.
What you major in, that counts.
What you major in is basically the field you're going into after college.
Yeah, so
like
if
guaranteed.
I, let's say, major in operations, I can't get a job in marketing.
No.
Okay, so here that's not how it works.
Exactly, because okay, so think about this. Our experiences here are more hands-on in the sense like, okay, you have case competitions, you actually do consulting in terms of say marketing or whatever for firms outside as part of a class.
Is that similar to internships?
They're not internships, they're just projects. So like say you help out, or you like, okay, say there are 100 kids.
Internships.
There are 100 kids. Let me give you a good example. Say for example, Pringles. Okay, like Pringles comes to our business school, and then it depends on the class. Okay, like there's so many different classes. For that class, say it's business presentations. Okay.
Yep.
Our job is to sit and basically make like a marketing strategy for them to target a particular audience. Now this becomes our project for like a month and a half of that class, and for like 6 weeks we're only working on that one project. There are 100 kids working on it, yes, and say the best idea gets chosen, and then you go to the next step. You travel to like the headquarters, and then you present your idea there. Okay. But every year that is happening, and I'm just giving you the example of one class versus imagine doing that for 4 years throughout your career in the business school. Like I must have worked on at least 7-8 different companies, at least, looking at different things. So that is where all like it's just a project, but it's not an internship.
But like that, the similar thing, we don't have that. What I think that's a brilliant mechanism if it exists, and like if your college is so nicely in rapport with you and also giving you the platform with the company. But what happens in India, I think Ishmeet will give you a good example, is what happens is we have internships.
So yeah, go on, Georgie. Complete, then I'll come into play.
So internships are basically a few, like mostly they're unpaid, and you have like a 1 month or 2 month experience with a particular company where you're basically an employee of that company. Now in many colleges, or in most colleges, this is not like how you said it's the college that organizes or helps you, gives you that platform, but it's you yourself get it mostly. And you yourself use your own contacts, your father's friend, your chacha's dost, your bua's tau data. That one too, I get ki in the same industry. When I'm in the same industry, high five. Let's
High five.
Give me
so this is one way of looking at it. The other way is you send out like, okay, what we personally do, we are a startup, take na. When we were bootstrapped without funding, and even we've been funded, we need like जितना सस्ता उतना बेहतर है, ठीक है ना? Of course quality है, we've invested in 5-6 good people, but for the others we take interns. How it works is, and more than us wanting to get them for lesser na, the notion that मेरे को सिर्फ experience चाहिए, मेरे को पैसा कम चलेगा. So one of the biggest problems is undervaluing yourself. And I'm not saying this in a good, like I'm not saying with the statement I made कि मेरे को experience चाहिए, पैसा कम चलेगा. The way these interns put it forward is strange. I'll give you an example very recently. like this month itself, we hired 3 interns, okay, like for different teams. 2 were in the lead generation team and 2 were in the market, in the social media team, okay. Now I had to take the final interview जिसको बोलते हैं of all these people. So out of those 4, 2 of them, and one I remember very starkly said this. I'm like, so tell me about what are your stipend demand, what are your expectations regards to that. Like Ishmeet, Mereko, I just want experience. You give me anything that works for me. I just want to show my drive, my energy, my enthusiasm. Then I'm like, hold on, that's very good. That's great. Don't worry, I'm hiring you. But what do you want to take a stipend? Again, the guy said, it's like, I don't want anything. It's okay. You guys pay me nothing. It works. I'm like, dude, all that energy, all that drive is good, but what? And then later on when we were discussing with my management, he's like, of course my boss is like, usko le lo, free mein le lo. I'm like, nahi bhai, it is clear exploitation, yeah. And this has drilled into their head when they think that when they say stuff like this, it's gonna easily get them a job. No, it just shows that it's super patronizing. तुम चाट रहे मेरा.
Yeah, I get it. And but that's the logic that exists, or that's the thinking that exists like throughout in the even in the legal sector as well. You just what do you call intern with whoever you can, and you're willing to not, if you get money, that's a huge luxury. The fact that you're getting paid means that, bro, you're interning and
Best internship.
exactly, that's the best internship. So but to a large extent, like normally now what has started to happen is that this internship process has started being regulated to an extent. Like in the top firms, they have an internship program, so that you intern once, and on that one internship we'll assess you whether we want you for a job or we don't want you for a job. And if you and in others, it's like we have to, like, through the first intern that comes over there, you learn about what an internship process is, and they have a very de facto sort of an internship. And they don't have a proper pattern, then it comes down to just being like a line in your CV.
Speak to that, like, okay, it's very different here. We intern in the summers only, and it's mainly after our third year, to be honest, that you get an internship, because by that time you have enough, let's say, exposure and enough experience to actually be able to handle projects and etc., and work in teams, right? Point is, we get paid as much as the person who's getting paid, like, working in the first year
Yeah.
during the internship. So, like, for those 2 months or 2.5 months, you are literally making that much money. It's like really making dough. It's like your first earnings out of college, and you're like, holy shit, I'm actually earning money now.
Uh,
And these internships, and like you said, we only get one internship at one company in most cases, and then you get the job. If you, like, 80 to 90% of people who intern will get the job.
okay, wow.
So that's how it works. Yeah.
Bro,
Beautiful,
I
beautiful.
know.
I think makes sense. For I think Rahul, then in that case, this even with वहाँ पर इतना unpaid internships फिर होता है, or all like you mentioned, these are summer internships only.
So
There's just
most of them are paid.
one thing which you have to do.
Unpaid internships are a very, very rare thing, to
Arey,
be honest.
I get it why that exists. That's basically because you're first of all paying so much to be a student there, right? So because
No. We're 1 second. We're not talking about only international. We're talking about domestic people as well. You also need to understand that in the US, the minimum wage is like $8 to $9 an hour. So at minimum wage, you can make, say, you work 8 hours a day, which is normal, or 40 hours a week. So you're making 40 into, say, $9. You're making $360 a week.
yeah,
You multiply that by, like, whatever it is, like, that is adequate. Like, you make that much of an effort for a month, that is adequate to support yourself.
yeah, I get that. But the point that I'm making is that even for domestic or international students, both, US college education is a huge burden, right, for the family, as well as because
So
fact that
again,
take student loans, and that's why getting paid back for what you've already invested is equal to here not paying that much for the education and having an unpaid internship. Or is the scale not the same?
honestly, I feel you get paid a lot. Like, after college, especially, you get paid a lot more than what you pay in a year for education. Number one. Number two, if you're going to a public university and you lived and from that in that state, right? So from the state of Indiana, if I have lived since I was a kid, my education is less than half of what it is for an international student. So say internationals are spending like 35 grand a year in USD.
Yeah.
Yeah, local people are spending like 14. So it's a very drastic difference. And imagine spending 14,000 a year for education, going out of college, and you're guaranteed at least a 50,000 ka salary.
क्या बात.
ख्वाब, सुंदर ख्वाब, बाप रे बाप. But yeah, so see there it seems refined, there it seems polished, there it seems like a purpose. Here, like some of the interns, they had what 6, 7 random things listed on the CV, and but there's this why have you tried so many things? What do you enjoy? It's like I'm just experimenting. I wanted to do a lot of other things. That's fair, but then when I'm asking you a question about what you did here, what you did there, you should be not just telling me what you did, but what value you could give. Yeah. So I was saying, see, so for these individuals, they, listen, yeah, so they are not being able to back it up, and there it falls flat. What's the point of doing 10 things when you cannot even justify even one?
See, that's where, okay, I get what you're saying to an extent, but it's also very different here like, from what I've experienced, right? I don't know about your Indian education system and what you're asked in your interviews and stuff. For us, we have
You don't know product of Indian education system. वहाँ जाके
in an interview, you do understand I'm talking about an interview. Listen to me. So my point is, okay, you go into an interview here and you are asked based on what you have on your resume, and you have to be able to present what you have on your resume in a decent enough way to say like, okay, this is what it was, this is what I did, and this is how I added value. Like, yes, you add value, yes. But again, there are, of course, like, I don't know how much the lines on your CV add a value to you when you go for an interview. Joyjeev, can you speak to that?
They are like, they really don't add that much value. It in the end comes down to the small connections and the networking that you do during the internship. The cigarette that
Wait, 1 second.
Yeah.
You got the internship. How did you get the internship? Can you get the internship without interviewing? I'm saying, like, if you interview for the internship, in that kind of scenario, does it help?
You can, but it's difficult to get a good internship, is what he means. You can work at a random company or internshala,
Yeah.
but वो कितना value देगा, you don't know. For getting a good internship, you need to at least on certain days know so few people.
Yeah, exactly.
For
That's
sure.
how you get a good internship. Now I'm talking about how you get from an internship to a job, which I still have not managed, but what I understand, the way is the way the way is to chato. Basically, the way is to smoke that cigarette with that associate who's a smoker, to talk about cricket with that guy who's a cricket fan. To like, I particularly know this a friend of mine. He went to this firm and he got a job. He had no interest in football and Premier League. Okay, वो प्रीमियर लीग का बेसिक से लेके Formula 1 ठीक है सब पता कर लिया just to have that small talk with that guy or with that partner of the firm. तो वाटर ब्रेक में जा करके थोड़ा बात करता था ऐसा. No, someone who's never been taught all those even exists. Okay, it's such a culture shock to even go to a firm and be exposed to people doing what not to get a job. And here I'm like, अपना एक्सेल शीट ठीक से भरूंगा तो मुझे काम मिल जाएगा. Doesn't work like that. So that's that.
पैसा कमाना हलवा का है.
हाँ.
Like this, पैसा कमाना हलवा थोड़ी ना.
वही.
करना चाटना पड़ेगा. You need to lick the right
okay, so tell
assets.
me one thing. Okay, out of this podcast, or even including if you want to include it, but how do you, without your like your GP or however well you're doing your grades, and without like if your experiences are not taken into account, then what matters? Just your connection.
ये इश्मीत आंसर करेगा ये.
भाई देख पर्सनली एमबीए को तो हायर नहीं क्यों है पहले, but that's what my you need to be street smart, boss. You need to have a drive. That's like I personally, even if you don't have, so right now, since if you're in a media field, like right now our field is a little to with the social ecosystem and the media. There's somebody who has connections or who's been a part of it even for a year, and he's average at communication or something. That guy, and that guy is good for us because he's got contacts and he can get shit moving easily. If not all these things, the person needs to be driven. Like like it's very, people say कि fire होना चाहिए. That fire होना चाहिए is, people are like क्या मतलब है? But that fire is actually a thing. If you have somebody who's willing to learn on the job, like Rahul you said, which is super important there, and somebody who's willing to shift out of the comfort zone, that's a super important thing. Jab personally, if I or somebody I know has to take an interview, CV देख लिया कहाँ काम कर रहा है, ask him questions about what he or she did, how he bought value for
Right,
he or she
right. No,
did
definite.
towards it.
That is exactly what I'm saying.
Of course, पढ़ाई वढ़ाई किया हुआ है, where you studied is crucial for sure, and especially in for these MNC. Like I haven't, like मेरा startup है, so हम लोग वो देखते नहीं है. हमारा है कि who can put in instead of 9 hours, who can put in 10, 11 hours on a particular day where you need to meet a client's deadline, because here clients always have an easy alternative of better company.
ठीक.
In case of a startup, client is God.
हाँ, तो ये ठीक है, ये तेरा है इश्मीत का
हाँ, personal.
आइडियल.
रोमांटिक नोशन नहीं है, नहीं होगा तो निकलना पड़ेगा उसको, मतलब
But
if you
okay,
can't.
I'll give you the cynical advice or cynical answer to this your question. What does someone need to do well in this internship system? You need to have connections, one, and you need to be at the right place at the right time. You have to be chicharito basically. Okay, if you're at the
Oh,
right time,
good Premier League reference. Guys, Joyjeev is the guy.
it's at the right.
Joyjeev is that example.
Yeah.
The one who takes a smoking break, the one who finds a football guy to small talk with. देखो job मिली ना, नहीं ना, क्या फायदा हुआ? फालतू
So
बकवास.
that's the way. That's the how you crack the system, because there's no proper system as such. It's all out in the open. It's street smartness and it's connections that get you the job at the end of the day.
Street smartness for sure. If you are doing off campus में बैठा रहेगा तो तुमको मिल ही जाएगा. This is all off campus guys.
bro, हम लोग off campus तुम बात करता है ना, for over here interview में, there's nothing technical. Street smart, like yeah, okay, fine. I understand mostly because of a startup, but over here it's like, okay, as long as you can, you want to work hard and you want a willingness to learn, like you said, and that's about it. And I think just taking that aside, I feel I'm not saying that the education system here is ideal. It is definitely not, and I don't think the education system anywhere is ideal.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, I hope that brought value to all of you. Like again, we were just wanted to talk about not the Rona behind the education system, but the things all of us have faced, and we're sure some of you are facing as well. So listen, what like just try to figure out what works from our conversation and what doesn't. Don't हम लोग को Bible लेके मत जाना, because हम लोग भी बहुत बकवास किए. But I hope that gives you a nice idea as to what are the thoughts that actually go behind these things, and yeah, make sense out of it. नहीं होता तो don't, हम लोग का बात सुन के कुछ कबाड़ा होता है, don't blame us कि साला ये podcast सुना इसलिए मेरा ये हालत हुआ. Don't do that for us. If you want to do that, blame Joyjeev.
Why?
But ठीक है ना, तू ही तो है Mr. Cynical. But yeah, so that was it. What about you guys, Rahul and Joyjeev? You want to say something towards the end?
Okay, nice. I have nothing to add. I think it was beautifully concluded. And with that, we'll end this episode. And we'll see you next week with another topic and 3 friends giving more tippani on that. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.